Hi guys and welcome back to Random Immy. In today's video we're going back into the Mortal Realms magazines and this time we are making Chainrasp Hordes. If you've watched my previous videos you know that we all need our clippers and some plastic glue. And if you can find it, your mold scraper, which in this current moment of time I have no clue where mine is. So we're just going to use clippers and glue. And of course, you're going to need your models, which for this video is just on one sheet, for all 10 characters. You'll also need to have your bases for these models, but I'm not going to have the bases in this video because it's easier just to spray them without being on the bases, and it'll also make your life easier to paint. I'm going to start off by doing Chainrasp 1, which is only part 5. This part does not need any gluing, so that is why I'm starting off with this particular chain rasp. The chain rasps are very fiddly characters, so I'm going to just cut off the weak parts first from the stronger parts later on. So for this, here's chain rasp number 5. So part 5, we're going to go with the head. And then finally the 2 base contacts, and that's that one done. If you have your mold scraper, it will then be easier to go back through and make sure all the connections are cut down. But even without my mold scraper, I can still tell that I can probably still come in with my clippers again and cut off some parts that shouldn't be there. I think I've got the last bits off of this model now, so that model is now finished. I'm now going to flip over my instructions, but I do still have another one to do on my front, but I'll come back to that one later on. For the rest of this video, I'm going to be going in chronological order from 2 to 3 to 4, etc. The rest of these components are also going to be needing to be glued as well as cut. To make this second chain rasp, you're going to need to cut out parts 1 and 2. And again, I'm just going to fix these guys up with the back of my clippers now that I'm a bit more free to do so. There's a bit on the hand I need to make sure I get the right part on. There's definitely some on part 1 I need to cut down a little bit more. You can clearly see it just about there on part 1. Remember, you can turn your models in different directions to try and help you cut the bits down, and something like a mold scraper will also help a little bit more, but I don't know, like I said, why that's gone. Right, I think I've managed to get some of it off, at least. I might be able to get some more off later on once it's glued, but that is it all mold scraped. The Chainrasp models can be pushed together, and do not necessarily require glue, but if you're going to make them last longer and have a nicer finish, I'd use the glue. So for this one that we've just done, all I'm going to do is stick the glue on the 2 bits that help push it in the 2 parts together. So I'm going to put it on model part 2, and then I'll push part 1 onto it, so it will sit nicely together. There we go. We can even get a nice satisfying squeeze like that. And I'm just going to hold it a little bit together just to make sure it's all in line properly. Kitchen roll may also be useful, just in case you get glue on your hands, which I do, and it's not going to rip the model all that more. It'll just add to their deftness. Like tell a story with that. But that's that first one glued together. Model 3 is needing parts 3 and 4. I think you can tell there's a bit of a common theme on this. I've cut and mold scraped part 3 and 4, and I'm just going to now glue them together. I'm going to stick the glue onto part 4, which is this particular part, which is the back. I think it would just be easier to try and get it there first, and then push part 3 into it. I'm also going to do them in the same place as I did for the second model, which literally is just the 2 holes, and the little bit that actually has a hole on the other side. That was it. And that is this one done. All the models that make the chain rasps are in chronological pairs. So for model 4, you're going to need to use parts 6 and 7. For model 5, you're going to need parts 8 and 9. Part 6, you're going to need 10 and 11. And part 7, you're going to need 12 and 13. The 8, you're going to need 14 and 15. And 9, you're going to need 17 and 16. All these I'm going to cut, mold, scrape and glue together. I am now on the last chain rasp, and this is model number 9. So for this one, I'm going to need parts 17 and 16. I've got some serious cutting to do on this one. Still got a big bit on the back. It's not too bad. The other parts are too bad on that part. But on this part, I've got a bit to do. So the bottom bits, they don't need to be neat on the long plastic bit here, because I'm actually covering up here because they're going to be going in the base. But it's more like the end of the mallet I need to get cut down. Got such a big bit off. I'm now going to glue this part of model number 6, part 16, because they're where the whole indent holes are. They're the better bits to glue rather than the bits that go into those holes. It's also fun to hear the glue squeeze with the press. And as I was doing that, I realised I have missed another bit off that needs a bit of a cut. So we're going to cut that again. And that is looking a lot better. And here is model number 9 sorted for you. Earlier on in the video, I did say that I still had another model to do. And I'm now going to come back to them. The reason why I came back to this model is because there are 2 options you can use for the front of this model. One is a model with the torch here, like some flames, and the other one is this one here, which is some stocks. I'm going to use the one with the candlestick guiding thing, and this is called a Dread Warden. Just like with the rest of the models, for the Dread Warden, I'm going to cut out the front and back scrape them with my clippers and glue them together. I'm just going to have to be extremely careful because the Dreadwarden parts are actually the most fragile in this set. And I have had one of these before and the candlestick thing has snapped, so I must be very careful of that. So the back is part 20 for this particular model. And he also has a sword in his hand. To be honest, it could be female, or non-binary, but I'm going with a man for this one. Now we're just going to neaten up the hand a little bit and the shoulder. There's another fiddly bit there. Go. It's part 20 done, and for the Dreadwarden part, it's part 18. I'm gonna start off very carefully going around the candles. And the stick. That nearly snapped, I could hear it. The head. There we go. Then just the last two bases. And now just to neaten this part of the guy up. Right, that's him neaten up on the front too. And I'm going to stick the glue onto part 20 as they're the indent holes and not the stick. But the candlestick, the hand as well is going to go on the candlestick, and there's a small hole for that to go into on the candlestick. So that's going to go there. And I'm going to just dab a little bit, oh that's a bit too much maybe. Oops. Dab a little bit of glue onto the hand. I'm going to start off by pushing the body bit in first because that's just going to be the stronger part, the part that needs a bit more force. So I'm going to push that in a little bit more first. And then I'm going to line the hand up with the flame, with the candlestick and the actual hand part, and push that in. And that is your guy complete. This is the Dreadwarden, and he is complete. I am going to use part 19 to be like a bit of an accessory thing, just to add some more character to the rest of the game. And I might attach it with some other parts later on. Thank you for watching how to make Chainrasp Hordes. I think you're going to like this video right here, and check out this playlist here if you like what you saw here today. Please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye!